else is on here?
Okay.
Oh, there's Jeannie. Okay, Jeannie, I don't know if you go by Jeannie or Tanel, but you're Tanel on Facebook, right? Hey, Crystal.
So you guys, if we, you can either, we're just going to kind of talk about a couple things, try to answer some of the questions that were posted in the group. And then, but if you have more questions, write it in the chat because we'll probably mute everybody so that it's nice and quiet. So write it in the chat if you have any specific little questions, okay?
And we will also have a couple minutes, hopefully at the very end, that you can unmute and ask questions if you like. Okay, I'm starting to talk now. You have to go to bed. Good night. Okay, sorry. Are we ready? Do you want to mute everyone?
Yes.
Hey, Dawn.
Is there a way to mute people faster than what I usually do?
I'm pretty sure there's a mute all option.
Yeah, there is.
I'm so
No, you unmute yourself. Oh,
good.
geez.
Did it again.
I'm not touching it. Okay.
One thing that you guys should all know is that Cozy and I are not professionals.
If you weren't sure, nice.
We're not. We are just sharing what we learned.
Wait, why aren't people muted? Okay.
I don't know, but do it again.
Okay. We're
Got
good.
it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's get down to business. Okay, so thank you guys so much for getting on. This webinar is actually kicking off a series of webinars that we are going to be hosting this month as part of a new challenge group that we're hosting. So the webinars are actually going to be exclusively for our customers and challengers who are in this challenge group, but because tonight is just a basic clean eating webinar, you know, introduction to clean eating, just some really basic tips, and it's not specific to any program. We wanted to invite all of you so that you could kind of get a sneak peek into what we're going to be offering in this group, as well as just get some tips to kind of help you get started with your own goals, which for most of us, we have goals to lose weight or tone up or something, and it all starts with your food. So that is why we want to get back to the basics this month and work on our nutrition because it is absolutely crucial. Cozy, when we get to that point, I want you to pop in with the questions that were posted in that group because I haven't read them today.
Okay.
So you help me like pop in and answer those when we get to it. So first of all, a basic introduction or definition of clean eating. It's really hard to give one because everywhere you look, there's going to be a different definition. Everybody has a different opinion of what's clean. So one thing to understand is that it's very customizable. You've got to figure out what works for you and your family. But the basic definition of clean eating, the general concept, is that you avoid processed foods and you eat mainly real foods, meaning foods that have either been grown in the ground or that walked on the ground or that flew in the air or swam in the water. Like literally fruits and vegetables and grains and meats, poultry, fish. So we avoid things that are packaged, that are processed, that are made by man. I read a really funny article one time. She was trying to explain this, and she said, for example, you want to eat the things that are made by God. God didn't make Cheetos. God might have made the corn that's in the cornmeal that we use to make Cheetos, but God did not make Cheetos. Okay, so that's kind of a fun way to think about it as you're trying to figure out what's processed and what's not. And really, it's pretty simple beyond that. Is there, Cozy, do you have a different concept or definition of clean eating since it's very individual?
Nope, I think that's good. I think the main thing is to avoid processed food, stuff that is packaged and they have to put preservatives in it to keep it good for a long period of time. So, and I think most of us know that, but yeah, sometimes
for real.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of things that I learned with clean eating that I was really surprised about, and it's what I've always kind of used as guidelines as I'm trying to help people learn the basics of clean eating. Basically, you avoid all things white and eat brown instead. This is a generalization, but for example, you don't eat white rice because it's heavily, heavily processed and it's stripped of nutrients. Instead, you would eat brown rice, or even better would be quinoa because it's loaded with protein and other good stuff that rice doesn't have. But when you're having rice, if you choose brown rice over white rice, then it's a more whole form of the plant and you're getting a lot more nutrients. When you use white flour, that is literally the most processed item on the planet. When you can buy something that says it's bleached, there's a problem with that. It's not, your food's not supposed to be bleached. So you use whole wheat flour instead. The same goes for breads. You get whole wheat breads, you get whole wheat tortillas, whole wheat pastas. You avoid the white pastas. What else?
They even have they have quinoa pastas now. So there's lots of different kinds of pastas that are really good. They even have different types of like squash. Instead of noodles, you can do squash, or have you heard of those? I call it veggetti.
Veggetti, or the noodles.
Yeah, so you like zucchini, you'll make noodles out of zucchini instead of having the noodles. So there's just lots of different ways you can change up your food to make it much healthier.
Yeah, for sure. So there's a lot of swaps that you can make so that you can still eat your favorite foods, your favorite family meals, without ingesting all of that processed chemical-laden crap that really just makes you feel terrible. And a big part of the reason why we want to eat clean is because our bodies were not designed to process chemicals. We were not designed to eat chemicals. They didn't even exist when we came into existence. And so that's really a big part of why we have so many struggles with digestion and weight gain. And I mean, you name it, our nutrition is to blame. I fully believe that almost every ailment that we deal with in our culture today is caused by our nutrition. So if we go back to the basics and we stick to the whole foods, then a lot of those things that we're battling can be reversed and we can get back to healthy living. So now that you have kind of our basic definition, a couple of do's and don'ts. We've already gone over the white versus wheat, brown versus white. Another thing is to avoid sugar. I know, I said the dirty S word. White sugar, granulated sugar, is so heavily processed. It doesn't even resemble the plant that it came from. It's super heavily processed. And an interesting thing about sugar is that it actually absorbs nutrients. So when you have sugar in your system, anything good that you may have eaten, say you have a really healthy, wholesome meal, and then you have a slice of cake, that sugar is going to absorb all of those nutrients from your meal, and you're up a creek. Like, you might as well be starving yourself. It is really, really toxic to your body. So sugar, unfortunately, is something to avoid. If you need to get your sweet fix, I'm kind of the queen of the sweet tooth, and I've been off of processed sugar now since middle of May. So I can tell you lots about how to get your sweet fix. But you can use honey, you can use pure maple syrup, you can use agave nectar, any of those pure natural forms of sugar you can use because they're not processed. Hey, Abby, how are you, girl? What else, Cozy? What are some other do's and don'ts?
I think the sugar, that's the hardest one for everybody. Drink lots and lots of water. They always say to drink, so say you weigh 200 pounds, half of your body weight is 100, and then you're supposed to drink 100 ounces of water every day. And that's almost not putting into perspective of like how much you're working out, what you're doing every day, whether you're mostly like sitting at work, or if you're going nonstop, you need to adjust that. But they say half your body weight in ounces. So pretty sure a lot of us don't drink enough water. And when you don't drink enough water, it's going to affect the way you sleep. It's going to affect the way you digest your food, your energy levels. So as Candace is drinking. So water is way more important than people, I think, even realize. Avoid sugary drinks. Obviously, we all know to avoid sodas and pop. I personally, for some reason, I love soda. So it's like a hard thing for me not to drink soda. And I try to where I'm like, I only have soda ever if I like go out and eat. Don't ever have it in your house because that's just makes it harder. Sugar drinks, like even fruit juices, all these fruit juices that you give your kids are not good. If I know that some parents have to give their kids a little bit of juice, but water it down, put a tiny bit of juice, and then fill the rest with water. Just like if you look at fruit juices, it's full of sugar. And it's not necessarily the fruit sugar that you think it is. So that would be another thing, is water and avoiding sugar drinks.
Lacey just posted a good point in the chat.
I was listening.
One of the benefits of clean eating is you're loading your body up with all of the vitamins and nutrients that you miss when you're eating a lot of that processed crap. Processed food does not have vitamins in it. They may say they do, but being fortified with vitamins is not the same as getting it naturally. And when you're eating clean, you're eating a lot of greens, you're eating a lot of healthy fats, and you're getting a lot of fiber. You can't really dump a little packet of powdered green stuff into a glass of water and chug it and say, oh, I had my vegetables for the day. You're not getting your fiber that comes with it. The same thing with fruit juice. It's heavy in sugar. The fruit itself is heavy in sugar also, but it's combined with the fiber of the fruit itself. So that's why juice by itself is so dangerous for you, is because you have all the sugar, but you don't have the fiber to help you process it. So when you are eating a clean, wholesome diet, you're getting all of that fiber and all of those vitamins, and they're going to help you beat those cravings. So when you're like, no way, I can't go without my pasta or my bread or whatever it is, your body is going to suddenly start to crave different things, and you're going to start to crave the good stuff because your body's like, this feels really good. And your cravings literally will start to change almost, I would say, within the first week of really trying to eat clean. Your cravings are going to change, and you're going to start to enjoy those vegetables that maybe you used to hate. And you're going to stop feeling like you have to have a bread with every single meal. Seriously, raise your hand if every meal has a carb. Pancakes or oatmeal or cereal, and then you've got to have a sandwich for lunch with a couple slices of bread, and then you have dinner and there's always rolls or breadsticks or something. We literally ingest more carbs than we do vegetables, most of us, if we're not being conscious of it. So your body is slowly going to start to replace those cravings with cravings for the whole foods that it really needs and that you've been giving it. That's a really super powerful tool to realize that just by changing your diet, your desires for what you're eating will change as well.
One thing that I heard, I can't remember where I heard it, on a podcast or something, Natalie Jill or something, a podcast, and she was talking about how sometimes people, it depends on your personality. Sometimes people can cut things out cold turkey and never ever have it, and just that craving will go away. Some people have to wean themselves off of it. Depends on you, depends on how you are. So she was saying, if you think of it in this way, and it can go in every aspect of your life, you, instead of thinking, for those that feel like they can't just completely cold turkey cut things off, think of it as the more, you only have so much room in your stomach, you only have so much time in the day. If the more you put good in, the less bad you can put in. So if you just keep putting more good, then the less bad. Where if you're going to fill up on fruits and vegetables and some protein, lean proteins, you're not going to have enough room in your stomach for all the crap. So that's what they always say, like, even with your thoughts and stuff, the more good thoughts that are coming in your head, there's going to be less room for all the bad stuff. So kind of think of it in that way. Like if you're craving something, just tell yourself, okay, I have to eat all my dinner. I have to eat all my chicken and vegetables or whatever you're eating, and then I can have a little piece of that. And lots of times you're not going to want as much because you're already full. So if you just tell yourself, okay, I need to eat all this good stuff, and then kind of see if it was cravings or if it was you actually were hungry. Another thing that I heard, I don't know where, is if you like really like try to listen to yourself. I'm so bad at this. Sometimes when I'm craving something, that's all I want. But they say if you tell yourself, oh my gosh, I'm starving, but then you're like, if you don't want like broccoli and carrots, then you're not hungry. It's a craving. So if you have to think of it in that way, like if all of a sudden you tell yourself you're starving, but that doesn't sound like that would fill you up, then you're not hungry. So chug a bunch of water or something to try to get that to go away. Something like that. So it doesn't have to be broccoli and carrots, but even just an apple or something. So
yeah, if you're hungry, you'll eat anything.
You'll eat anything if you're absolutely hungry.
Like,
yeah.
Whatever.
I have almonds. Like I always have like almonds in my purse or some type of protein bar in my purse. Something where if I'm starving after clinic or something, I don't want to go through a drive-through. I have something to hold you off. So that helps me a ton to always have something.
I wanted to just really quickly go over some swaps just to give you guys some ideas. I know I talked about a few of them, but condiments, mayo and ketchup and barbecue sauce, they're really not very good for you. Swap them out for spices as you're cooking. Learn how to cook with spices more. I have started using so many more spices than I ever did, and herbs, and you can use as many as you want. One of our favorite ways to eat vegetables, we will chop up just a variety of vegetables and toss them in coconut oil, and then we spread them out on a cookie sheet and we bake them or we roast them in the oven, and we toss them in a homemade version of onion soup mix, and it is literally the best tasting vegetables I've ever had. My family, my kids, my 4-year-old, my 6-year-old just like shovel these vegetables into their mouths. So we've actually started eating vegetables we never would have, like zucchini and squash and cabbage and what else? I don't know, just vegetables that we never ever would have eaten otherwise. So learn to give your food flavor from spices and herbs. Swap out chocolate chips for, I don't know how to say this, cacao nibs, cacao nibs. I'm pretty sure that's how it's said. It's no, it's cacao, CACAO. Okay, I don't know how to say it, but they are actually from the cocoa plant, and they're considered superfood. So you get the chocolate flavor, but you're getting like antioxidants and vitamins and minerals up the wazoo while you're eating chocolate chips. I mean, you can't hardly beat that. No. Cozy mentioned replacing like spaghetti. How many of you spaghetti is like a crap, I don't have dinner ready, I'm starving, let's cook spaghetti? When you have kids, it's like a weekly thing. Replace your noodles with spaghetti squash. Just slice it in half, scoop out the guts, put it upside down on a baking sheet and stick it in the oven for an hour. If you don't have an hour, stick it in the microwave. Seriously, like 10 minutes and it's done. If you hate squash, I hate squash. I hated squash. Sick. I'm pretty sure you'll change your mind because spaghetti squash is amazing with a good sauce on it. Sour cream. We all love sour cream. Sour cream by itself is not horrible, but when you're cooking with it and you're putting it in casseroles and stuff, use Greek yogurt, non-fat Greek yogurt instead, because then you're also getting the added protein, you're getting the live active cultures of the yogurt, which really helps you with digestion. So you're getting a lot more bang for your buck, so to speak. And when you're mixing it into things and baking with it, it tastes exactly the same.
Candace, one more before I forget. Abby actually taught me this when she'll like cut up cucumbers or any type of vegetable, and instead of dipping it in ranch, you just sprinkle it with the ranch popcorn seasoning. It's awesome. It gives you that flavor, and it's obviously in the popcorn section where all the seasonings are. You know, they have the butter ones, it's just a powder. So it's a seasoning where that's totally fine. You can season even your vegetables with it, because I love ranch. Ranch is awesome. But ranch is terrible for you. So that's like an awesome way to just mix up your vegetables and season them without getting a ton of extra calories and stuff.
I actually have a ranch that I use that I get at the store. It's Bolthouse Farms. You get it in the refrigerated section by the bagged salads. It's only 35 calories a serving as opposed to 250 for the other ranch. And it's made with yogurt. So it's actually,
that's what I was wondering.
If you're gonna buy store-bought ranch, check the label. Look at what's in it and find one that's made with the most real ingredients that you can find, and you'll be okay. Because obviously, you guys, this is not going to be an overnight thing. This is not going to be a decision that you make tonight and from here on out you're 100% clean. I'm still not 100% clean. Seriously, I have been doing this for 3 years now, and there are still days when I have a freaking sandwich with white bread because we're at the in-laws and it's all they have. You know, I mean, it is a process. It is, and it's a journey. It really is. It's a huge change from what our culture teaches us. Our culture is not one to say, you need to be more healthy. Our culture is one to say, anybody want a donut? Right? It's just not our culture. And while it is becoming popular to make healthier choices, it's not a way of life for most people yet. So don't be too hard on yourself. Give yourself some room, cut yourself some slack, and make it a change here and a change there. When we started with my family, I started out with spaghetti, and I didn't go to spaghetti squash because I hate squash. So instead, I just bought whole wheat noodles. And the first time I cooked them, my family hated them. So the next time I cooked them, I did half whole wheat and half white, half regular noodles. And they're like, this is great. They didn't even notice. So gradually over time, eventually I did straight up whole wheat noodles again, and they haven't said a word. They just devour it like nobody's business. So I don't even buy white noodles anymore. I only buy whole wheat, and my family eats them. And now I also cook a squash for myself, and they eat that too. So it's one of those things that you just kind of have to take baby steps sometimes. If it's seeming like a monumental change in your family, don't make it be a cold turkey overnight thing. That doesn't work for everybody. Just start swapping out some things here and there.